Cary Grant was the definitive architect of Hollywood's leading man persona, a blend of mid-Atlantic sophistication, athletic grace, and a wit that was as sharp as the crease in his trousers. While the world looked at him as the gold standard of masculine beauty, Grant himself was a meticulous observer of the world around him. He didn't just view beauty as a physical trait. He viewed it as a form of composure, a professional discipline, an internal light that could withstand the harsh glare of a Technicolor camera. To Grant, a beautiful woman was one who possessed style, not just in her wardrobe, but in her soul. Here are the 5 women Cary Grant identified as the most breathtaking of his era, analyzed through the lens of the man who spent his life perfecting the art of the look. 1. Grace Kelly, the fire beneath the ice. When Alfred Hitchcock cast Cary Grant and Grace Kelly together in To Catch a Thief, the world witnessed a masterclass in cinematic chemistry. For Grant, Grace Kelly represented the pinnacle of what he called cool elegance. She was an ice queen who harbored a hidden, passionate fire, a contrast that Grant found endlessly fascinating. He often remarked that Kelly's beauty wasn't a loud declaration. It was a whisper that forced everyone else in the room to lean in. Grant marveled at her stillness. In an industry where many actors overcompensated with grand gestures, Kelly had the confidence to be motionless. To Grant, this was the ultimate form of beauty, a woman who knew her worth so deeply that she didn't feel the need to prove it. He saw her as a biological aristocrat, someone whose bone structure and poise were matched only by her internal discipline. Even after she became a princess, Grant spoke of her with a reverent nostalgia, noting that she was the only woman who could make a simple walk across a room look like a choreographed ballet. 2. Audrey Hepburn, the whimsical gamine. Cary Grant famously turned down the role of Joe Bradley in Roman Holiday because he feared he was too old to be Audrey Hepburn's leading man. However, by the time they filmed Charade in 1963, his admiration for her had only deepened. He famously said, "All I want for Christmas is another movie with Audrey Hepburn." To Grant, Audrey was a singular event in human history. She didn't fit the curvaceous mold of the 1950s bombshell, and that was precisely why he found her so beautiful. He was captivated by her spirit, a mixture of vulnerability and ironclad resilience. Grant viewed Audrey's beauty as light-filled. He noted that she didn't just reflect the light of a scene, she seemed to generate it. Her long neck, expressive eyes, and rhythmic way of speaking were, in Grant's eyes, a form of jazz. She was the modern woman before the world knew what that meant. A beauty rooted in intelligence, humor, and in refusal to be defined by traditional Hollywood standards. For a man as curated as Grant, Audrey's effortless authenticity was the most attractive thing about her. 3. Sophia Loren, the force of nature. Sophia Loren was perhaps the only woman on this list who truly rattled Cary Grant's legendary composure. During the filming of The Pride and the Passion and later Houseboat, Grant became famously infatuated with the Italian star. To him, Loren was the Earth Mother realized, a beauty that was primal, vital, and unapologetically alive. She was the total opposite of the polished, reserved heroines he usually worked with. Grant was mesmerized by her scale. He often spoke about her magnificence, referring not just to her physical height and curves, but to the sheer volume of her personality. She was a woman who lived loudly, laughed deeply, and ate with gusto. In a Hollywood that was obsessed with diets and artifice, Loren's raw appetite for life was, to Grant, the ultimate aphrodisiac. He saw her as a masterpiece of Mediterranean architecture, strong, enduring, and radiant under the sun. Though their personal romance eventually faded, his professional respect for her remained a pillar of his life. He viewed her as the gold standard for what it meant to be a real woman. 4. Ingrid Bergman, the intellectual depths. If Sophia Loren was the fire, Ingrid Bergman was the deep, still water. Grant and Bergman shared a deep friendship and a professional shorthand that birthed classics like Notorious and Indiscreet. To Grant, Bergman's beauty was inextricably linked to her intellect. He found it impossible to separate her striking features from the immense emotional intelligence that lived behind her eyes. He often commented on her naturalness. Bergman was famous for her reluctance to wear heavy makeup, preferring the camera to catch her skin as it actually looked. For Grant, this was a radical form of beauty, a woman who was so comfortable in her own skin that she invited the audience to see her flaws. He viewed her as the most honest actress he ever worked with. Her beauty wasn't a mask, it was a window. He saw in her a rare combination of Swedish stoicism and Hollywood glamour, a balance that allowed her to project a sense of home and mystery at the same time. 5. Deborah Kerr, The Ladylike Fire. An Affair to Remember is often cited as the most romantic film ever made, and much of that is due to the mutual respect between Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr. Grant viewed Kerr as the ultimate lady. He admired the still waters run-deep quality she brought to her roles. To him, her beauty was a form of good manners. It was subtle, refined, and always appropriate, but it contained a sharp, witty edge that kept him on his toes. Grant loved her humor. He often said that a woman couldn't be truly beautiful if she didn't have a sense of the absurd, and Kerr was one of the funniest women he knew. He viewed her beauty as melodic. It had a rhythm and a grace that felt grounded in reality. She wasn't an untouchable icon. She was someone you wanted to have a conversation with. For Grant, who was a student of human behavior, Kerr's ability to be both a high society figure and a relatable human being was the hallmark of a true beauty. She represented the perfect partner, someone whose beauty enhanced your own rather than competing with it. The Grant synthesis, beauty as a professional craft. Looking at these 5 women, it's clear that Cary Grant's taste was never about the obvious or the superficial. He looked for a combination of discipline, intelligence, and vitality. He understood that on a movie set, beauty is a collaborative effort between the actor, the light, and the lens, and he respected these 5 women because they understood the craft of being seen. Asterisk poise over flash. He preferred the quiet confidence of Kelly and Kerr over the frantic energy of the vamps. Asterisk intellect over ornament. He was consistently drawn to women like Bergman and Hepburn who used their minds as much as their faces. He valued the real over the manufactured. Cary Grant's legacy is often reduced to a tuxedo and a tan, but his observations on beauty reveal a much more complex man, one who sought substance in a world of shadows. He didn't just name these 5 women because they looked good on a poster. He named them because they possessed a quality that couldn't be taught, the courage to be themselves in a town that constantly tried to change them. As we look back from 2026, Grant's standard remains a powerful reminder that the most beautiful thing a person can wear is a sense of their own identity. Thank you for exploring the refined world of Hollywood's most sophisticated leading man. Be sure to join us next time as we continue to unlock the secrets of the icons who defined an era.